Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading Multi-Character Accessory by me. So let's get into it. Gojo Satoru. Satoru was someone that was very unpredictable in any relationship that he was in, be it as a friend, a teacher, or a partner. And with you, it just so happened to be the latter. And it was a little bit worrying sometimes. Just how he could be. And also, it meant that you had to be very careful. Because no matter how much time passed, you could never know what was on his mind. Sometimes, it felt like that blindfold on his eyes was there even when it was not. You would look into those blue eyes of his, so brilliant, so beautiful, and so mysterious, and you wouldn't be able to tell a single thing. And to be honest, all you had done today was not very much. You were simply wearing a shorter skirt than usual, and you did not even expect him to notice. He was a very busy man, who had the weight of the world on his shoulders. Certainly you wearing a skirt would not deter him in any way, and would not even be something that caught his attention. Or so you thought, because it did catch his attention, and you didn't know what to do with that information. All you knew was that Gojo was much more interested than you wanted him to be. And you were very, very flustered. Because as much as you would have liked to be subtle, he was staring with those eyes of his, and they were very, very noticeable. He was almost burning a hole into your back by now. And so I turned to him, arms crossed, a stern look on your face. Gojo Satoru, do not look at me that way. Wow, using my full name. Or are you acting like I'm a criminal for looking at my partner? Well, you are not just looking at me, you're staring like a pervert. A pervert? Really now? You're just being cruel. Me? Cruel? Really now? Well, next time when you're shirtless, I'll make sure to oogle you just the same way you're doing right now. And you should have known that this wouldn't have worked, because he smirked, and you looked very amused. Well, I would like that outcome. You could just stare at me when I'm shirtless. I'd love it very much. Oh, I should have known, you said, mumbling in regret, and you couldn't help but giggle at you. You were so easy to fluster, so easy to tease. And he was a little bit bored today, so it was easy entertainment for him. But it was certainly not enough, for he was someone that was rather insatiable. So instead, he waited until you got distracted. And then, he decided to strike. And strike he did. You were just walking around, when all of a sudden, his footsteps rather silent, you just felt someone lifting up your skirt. You didn't even see him behind you, which was weird considering how tall he is. But he had a habit of sneaking up on people when he wanted. So all you could do at that moment was jump and slap his hand away. A bright blush on your cheeks. Satoru, what are you doing? Could you just not? Hey, calm down. You're making a bigger deal of things. You just lifted up my skirt, like a pervert. And remember, you just denied being one just a couple moments ago. That was 15 minutes ago, darling. I've changed. So you're a pervert now? Well, maybe I am. If that's how you're gonna see this. Is it so wrong of me to want to appreciate you? You could appreciate me differently, you said with a pout, and he chuckled, wrapping his arms around you and lifting you into his arms. You were quite shorter than him, and you couldn't help but find it adorable. And so as he lifted you up, He pressed a soft kiss to your cheek and held you close to him. "Alright, I'll be careful. Next time, I'll appreciate you just the way you want," he said, whispering into your ear and making you blush even brighter. And you couldn't help but just lean your head against his shoulder, closing your eyes and nodding. It was all you wanted from him. This appreciation, this love. Even if he was a tease sometimes, he still knew how to respect your boundaries and be gentle and show just how much he loved you. And yes, you were not really that annoyed. You just liked to scold him, and he knew that, so he let it pass. Because despite your clashing differences, the two of you knew just how to navigate the other perfectly, like you were made to be. Sukuna. He was not someone that anyone would take for a good partner. And that's fine. He did not expect that at all, and he actually did not expect to have a partner. But you were rather interesting. And he found himself doing a lot of things he never expected to do for you. But maybe you were just meant to change him. It was a little bit difficult to accept at first. Difficult to accept that he may have fallen for a human, a weakling. But as weak as your body was and frail as you might be, you had a strong mind, and you were very interesting to him. And that's what kept him interesting for more than 5 minutes. And he decided on not actually ending you the first time you met. And then you just stayed together. It sort of worked out. At first, he had rescued you a couple of times, and you were scared of him. For a good reason. He didn't give you any reason not to be. But then he started being strangely nice to you. You were even worried for a second that he was trying to trick you and lure you into a false sense of security so you could see the look on your face when he kills you. But that didn't turn out to be it. Because he was incredibly gentle in a way you have not even seen before. And perhaps even the King of Curses yearned for something so simple as love itself. Something so human that you thought he'd be disgusted of. But right now, watching you walking around the house in this tiny little short skirt of yours, it was doing things to him, and he prided himself on having more control on his mind. It was not as mindless as most curses or most humans. He was very aware of what he was thinking. And that's precisely why he felt like such a loser right now. He shouldn't be looking at you like this. He shouldn't feel like you were going to end him just because you existed and looked pretty. And yet, that seemed to be the case. Truly, if anyone was going to be the end of the King of Curses, it surely had to be you. Because only you had that effect on his mind and heart. And you're the only person that he'd allow to have such effect on him anyway. So, after a while of just debating internally what to do, he decided on actually just going with what his heart wanted. And teasing you a little bit. It was amusing, and he liked seeing the flustered look on your face. So, as you were cooking in the kitchen, he went up to you and lifted up your skirt, whistling, causing you to turn around and shove him away. And only you would be able to do something like that. It was very amusing how you could be, and how you were not afraid of him. Not anymore. Sukuna, please, could you be more polite? You shouldn't do something like that. It's embarrassing. Why not? You're acting like I'm doing something strange. Aren't we partners? Yes, but you just don't do that, even if you're partners. You can't just lift up my skirt in the middle of the day. So I can do it in the middle of the night. Is that what you're implying? No, you know that's not it. Don't give me that look. You pout, blushing brightly, and he chuckles, wrapping an arm around your waist. And you couldn't help but just melt into it, the way he just pulled you close to his chest. It was nice. His arms were strong, sturdy, and just like his chest was. And you couldn't help but feel a little bit relaxed as you rested your head against it. Sweetheart, you look very beautiful, so you can't blame me for what I want to do. It's entirely your fault. Well, if you're gonna be like that, then maybe I can't blame you. You do look beautiful today, too. Oh, tell me more. Nuh-uh, I'm not doing that. Your ego's as big as mountains already. You say, and you laugh softly at that, because you're not wrong. No, you'd never be wrong about him. You're the only person who understood him so perfectly. And that's why he loved you. So, after the two of you stayed in the other's arms for a couple minutes, he let you go with a soft kiss to your cheek. He could be a gentleman when he wanted to be, and he actually helped you cook. And maybe, just maybe, if he helped you finish your chores early, you would give him a satisfactory reward. After all, you two could be a very nice person when you wanted to be. And the two of you just suited each other like this. Nanami. Nanami was a gentleman. He would never do such a thing. He was very polite and very firm about some rules, and he was actually not a fan of PDA. But he knew how to be moderately affectionate in public. But at home, he would certainly spoil you, perhaps a little bit too much. Not too much that you wouldn't want it, but it was a surprising amount from someone that seemed so stoic as Nanami. But it was wonderful nonetheless. And you sought that kind of affection from him. You loved it. The look in his eyes that spoke of so much love and adoration that you'd never find anywhere else, because it came so effortlessly to him. To him, loving you came as easy as breathing. It was something he could do without having to exert any effort. It was natural, and it was wonderful. It made his days much more meaningful. It made his life worth looking forward to. It made his mornings happy, and it made him feel like he had someone to live for. That was something he never thought he would have, and yet you were able to bring that light into his life in a way he never thought possible. And right now, he was a little bit fixated on your physical appearance. You just happened to look so wonderful today, and he couldn't help but find himself distracted by it. He really felt a little bit guilty about it. He didn't want to be so shallow, and he wasn't. Not really. But he would consider himself as such anyway, regardless of what you thought. And whether or not you thought this was perfectly normal, he would still consider it a little bit shallow of himself. So after pondering it for a little moment, he decided to just try to distract himself. It was easier, and he felt like it was the least he could do for you. He didn't want to seem like a creepy pervert just staring at you like that, even if you were partners, and you were quite comfortable with him staring. He didn't want to be rude in any way. And yet, he couldn't help but feel frustrated with himself, and with the way he wanted you more. So, after a little bit of time has passed, you came to sit close to him, and he smiled softly, wrapping an arm around your waist and pulling you closer. Is everything alright, darling? Yes, thank you for asking. You know, today was a good day actually. I've managed to finish all my stuff, and there's quite a bit of time left. So, I was wondering if you'd like us to spend the night together. You know, in a more special way. I could put on a movie and order some food, and we could make this a little bit more romantic, if you know what I mean. He smiled softly, leaning down to press his lips against your cheek. We can do that, and I could cook for you. I know you like my cooking. I do. Thank you, Nanami. But if you're exhausted, don't feel like you have to. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't offer if I wasn't ready. But I'm wondering if you would let me do something. I'd let you do anything you wanted, you say, blushing, and you couldn't help but smile at how compliant you were being. So you leaned down, lifting just a little bit off your skirt and pressing a soft kiss to your thigh and the exposed skin. And this? Are you sure it's alright with you? He blushed brightly, and you couldn't help but the gasp you let out at his action. But even though you were very embarrassed and flustered, he didn't mind, because like you said, you would not mind anything that Nanami did, and you truly meant it. Yes, that's perfectly fine with me. I mean it. You said, and he smiled, holding your hand and pressing a soft kiss to your palm as well. All he wanted to do was cherish you today, to appreciate you, and to smother you in his love and affection. Because lately you've been busy, and so has he. And now with this opportunity to spend some time together and be able to soak in the presence of the other, you are going to make the most of it, both of you. Because it was something wonderful, an opportunity that you would never squander, no matter what. And Kento here would do his best to make sure of that.